Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward.
Hey guys, crypto market review today with Bitcoin, ETH, and Link probably. As always, this is not financial advice. I'm not an expert. Do your own research. Today I wanted to just do a total crypto market review on where I think everything's headed, and yeah, let's just get to it, I guess. So this is a BTC USD chart on the 1 week. Here is these are just previous. Let's clear this chart. Okay, swing high. Let's just mark some levels here. Okay, so where is the overall context of this chart? This is obviously a highly bullish trend. That's, I don't think, debatable. Short term, obviously things are looking a little grim. High sell volume on the 1 week. Sell volume is going down a little bit, which is pretty normal. It's just consolidation. In terms of overall 1 week levels, there really aren't anything on high time frames. This was just such a big move up that price never really took a break. So we'll have to scale down to lower time frames here. What's the overall context of the market here? So overall context is that price looks fairly bearish in the short term. High sell volume coming in overall. And you can see that sellers are leaning pretty hard. And this support area here around 27K is being tapped over and over and over again. And again, what does that mean? Generally means that these orders are getting weaker and weaker, or the support area is getting weaker and weaker. And if this area continues to get tapped, then support is going to fall through. I have another video too discussing the strength and weaknesses of support and resistance. It's basically going to be like a rubber ball. First initial move is going to be the strongest. Second is going to be the second strongest, and then it'll basically fall through as these orders are getting filled. So as of right now, it's a great day so far. You know, up 5%, and the entire market is pumping well, which is fantastic to see. But I would be very cautious in terms of where you expect price to head. This 33K level has proven to be fairly key in my opinion. I mean, if you can see how many times price has interacted with this level, this, I'm guessing, is going to be, there's still going to be sell liquidity here in the 33Ks if price makes it up there. But overall context of this chart is that I'm a little bearish in the short term, just because this area is getting tapped over and over again, and the overall context on lower time frames is somewhat bearish in terms of the way price is basically just making kind of not necessarily any higher highs or anything like that. And so my personal plan is to basically keep watching. If price keeps tapping this 29K, 28K area, I'm going to expect this area to basically fall through. It's possible that these were the lows established. You know, this 27K was the low, and price will just ping pong between 27K and 43K within the next few months. And that's totally healthy in terms of an overall market context. I personally hope that happens because I want price to establish a base, a bullish accumulation base for another run up to $100,000 later on. But in terms of where I see price going in the short term, I am neutral to somewhat bearish, just given the context of the chart. There probably is a lot of liquidity up here that hasn't been tapped in a while, but it's going to take a little bit for price to get there. So right now I am cautiously neutral on Bitcoin to bearish. If price does go lower, if it does fall through this 27K area, I like 24K. I think this is like a pretty, like the next level up. And obviously, if things get really bad, then 20K will obviously have tons and tons and tons of support, in my opinion. It's like a no-brainer long. But as it stands right now, price is just kind of ranging. It's basically going between 28K and 33K right now, ping-ponging. And we're seeing price, tap kind of both ends of this range right here. So overall, I am fairly neutral on Bitcoin in general. I'm worried that 28K is constantly being tapped over and over and over again, and you can constantly see that too with just this context here. I mean, this is that bouncing ball analogy that I had before, where price is basically just making lower highs every time. So, if we see something like this, then it's going to fall through, in my opinion. But that's we don't have to talk about that quite yet. There's still a few levels to protect against, and this demand area is still holding for now. So as of right now, Bitcoin, I am somewhat, as I said, neutral to slightly bearish in the short term, but overall high time frame context, I'm very bullish. I think it's likely that price just basically uses a range. I don't know where the range will end. It could have just been 27K, but I am looking just for this bullish accumulation to happen over the next few months. And that would be great and healthy to see it do this, just because I do believe that price needed to reset a little bit from its huge run from 10K or whatever it had. So yeah, overall context wise, I do want to see $100,000 Bitcoin later this year, but it still might take time. This right now is not a bad area to basically start accumulating Bitcoin too, in my opinion. It's not bad. I buy Bitcoin every single month, just dollar cost average in for my spot positions. So I still feel pretty confident that Bitcoin will go to 100,000 later this year. But overall context of this chart is somewhat bearish in my opinion in the shorter term, but high time frames charts still very bullish. And if Bitcoin does pull back, alt USD pairs are going to suffer very much, and that could be a good time to buy dips, in my opinion, because I expect price to basically rebound pretty quickly for altcoins, especially in the coming months. Maybe not months. We're about to enter a period where I would not be surprised to see a market-wide pullback for alts, but we'll see given the context and where everything is at. But alt USD pairs will suffer if Bitcoin goes lower. So it's very important to understand that context. But overall, yeah, still, those are my market thoughts on Bitcoin. Neutral to bearish in the short term. I am high time frame very bullish though. ETH USD chart looks better in my opinion than Bitcoin. I mean, this swing high area is going to have, this is the all-time high level. This in current area is going to just have it's going to have a lot of volatility because it's the all-time high level. Generally, these key swing high areas are war zones for market participants, where you'll see a lot of volatility and you'll see a lot of heavy spiking in both directions, and we're kind of seeing that right now, where we're seeing the all-time high level and some lower levels too, like this 1200 area too, has been interacted with quite a bit the last few days and weeks. And yeah, this is just very choppy price action right here. Unless you're an expert scalper, I would probably recommend staying away from scalping in these conditions, just because it's very choppy and you're seeing a lot of price wicking in both directions, and it's tough to trade unless you're an expert scalper. But as of right now, I mean, things still look fine. I still feel confident that ETH will break to $2,000. Fairly confident about that in the coming weeks, just because, I mean, with the way that Bitcoin has had its run, it's just inevitable, in my opinion, that ETH hits all-time high levels, or beyond its all-time high levels. I mean, it just seems inevitable. But as it stands here, in the short term, ETH still is bullish, in my opinion. It still looks fine. I think it looks like a better chart than Bitcoin personally. And it's possible that ETH will outperform Bitcoin, and we'll look at the ETH BTC chart in a little bit too. I think it's entirely possible that ETH BTC outperforms Bitcoin in the coming weeks personally. But as it stands right now, the sell liquidity around 1400 is getting tapped over and over again. Same concept as before too that I talked about. Resistance also gets weaker the more times that it's tapped, and these sellers are getting tired, in my opinion. Like, if you can see price constantly kind of tapping these areas with higher lows, it's generally a very bullish sign. So, you'll see like this, and then, but remember, these orders are getting filled every time, and soon I think that the buyers are going to absorb the rest of the selling, and I think that this will break up. Now, if Bitcoin does pull back, though, Bitcoin is obviously the market leader, and if Bitcoin does pull back, then I think it's likely that ETH does as well. And if ETH does pull back, it's going to depend on how big of a pullback Bitcoin has. If Bitcoin pulls back to like 24K or something like that, then it's almost certain that 1200 or 1000 will get tapped in that situation, in my opinion. But we can take level to level, and as of right now, ETH still just looks really strong. So personally, 1200 would be a decent entry in my opinion. 1000 obviously would be a great entry, but that's still a very, very far ways away, given the context of the market and given like how, given where everything is at right now. But never say never. So the 20% drop isn't completely out of the question, of course, for crypto. That's one day for us. But ETH BTC, I think, still looks very good in my opinion. Price has been in this range for years, arguably, depending on how you want to chart it. But I mean, we're seeing insane buy volume come in, and this is obviously when you see insane buy volume like this with continual follow-up, it's just very, very, very bullish. It's very likely that you see continuation, and I think it's very, very likely here that ETH will go to 0.055. It just seems fairly I mean, there's not much price history in general, so price will want to fill this area out, and I expect ETH to outperform Bitcoin in the coming weeks. So yeah, I think that 0.055 is almost certainly going to come, and even possibly higher. It's going to depend more on, we'll see more volume follow up, but in general, ETH BTC just looks like a really, really nice chart. If I were to look to buy, 037 is the former range high, kind of this area. This would be a solid entry in my opinion, if it comes. And price right now is just it's just kind of bull flagging now. So you just run, bull flag, run, bull flag. Just consolidation. It's basically what's basically been doing, and it wouldn't surprise me at all to see more of this type of price action. But ETH BTC looks really, really good. If you're looking for an altcoin just to even just hold, ETH BTC looks good. Lastly, let's just go quickly with Link. Here's my fib extensions. Link is still highly bullish. One of the best coins in my opinion. The dip got bought up very quickly, and it's up 13% today. I'm still using this fib extensions, and $25 is a psychological number, but I still think that this area is going to get broken pretty quickly. we're just seeing right now just every dip getting bought up though with Link. Uses trend line. And again, resistance gets weaker and weaker every time it gets tapped. So you might see something like this. So something like, $22 could be a decent entry. But yeah, I'm very bullish on Link. I think this is gonna do very well in the coming weeks. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this market review. Please let me know if you have any questions. Oh, Alpha's still going off. Good luck.